Hi, everybody. It's Linda G and Sterling.
Good morning, everybody.
I've got your questions. Thank you to Sterling's wife, Linda, and to Dan.
Absolutely, the two best people on the planet,
Right.
besides yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Who put these questions? Great questions. You always get great questions. And I wanted to mention, remember, I'm going to give a free reading to for anyone that for when Sterling hits 16,000 subscribers, I'm going to give out a free reading. And then how are we going to pick that person?
Yeah, so the way that works is the free half-hour reading with yourself. When I reach 16,000 subscribers on my channel, that will be selected from people that comment on the videos on my channel, not this channel, but the Sterling Psychic Medium channel. And then you start off the comment with the word love, which means you want to be entered into the contest. So,
right. And then you'll give them my email, and then I can get their phone number and stuff, because you probably don't want to put their phone number over the internet.
Yeah, they'll reach out to our office, and then we'll coordinate with you and give them your home address and your phone number. And
I don't care as long as you don't tell them how much I weigh. That's all that
no problem. It's all good.
Okay, so here's question number one from the other side. John Denver, who I love, by the way. Does he have a message for us?
He does. A very nice guy. The first time I've talked with him, kind of on the other side. But, like a number of people that we see in public life, they really felt their life, they actually were very aligned with their life purpose. And for him, it was all about being an environmentalist and an activist. So even though, he had all the great success as a singer, he felt like his life work really was around helping to save Mother Earth. And so one of the messages he came through with was that, now is the time that everyone has to take this seriously regarding Mother Earth. A lot of the things he knew about global warming and conservation and all those things are now coming to pass here. And so we've got to take this all very, very seriously. He also sent out love to all his children and his wives. He wanted to make sure everybody was doing okay. And the other thing was funny, he perished in an aviation accident.
Right.
But, he was saying, he was just telling me, Sterling, one of the interesting things was, and kind of humorous to him, was that he never considered himself to be a big, aviation. He never really mastered aviation per se. But the fact that he died in an aviation accident and the plane ran out of fuel, that's what happened. So he's kind of like, of all things, kind of an interesting way to go out. But he said it just created a little more drama in my life, and that was okay. That I went out kind of with a ball of glory, so to speak. So
right. How old was he when he died, or do you even remember?
I don't know exactly. He might have. I actually have no idea, to be honest.
Might have been in his 50s, I think.
My recollection, he probably was in his 50s. Yeah, but
I know that with that plane crash was he died immediately.
Yeah.
There was no lingering.
That's very true, very true. But he just felt it was humorous that of all ways to go out, that.
Right, but he did love flying now. He loved that feeling of being an eagle in the sky.
Yeah, but he was just saying that it wasn't something he really fancied as him being an expert in, and it was a very short flight, and it was an experimental aircraft that he wasn't familiar with, and there were a lot of factors. Then running out of fuel, so the whole thing was just crazy.
Right, so. Exactly. Okay. Will any of the capital writers receive long prison term sentences? As of now, it seems like they are barely getting a slap on the wrist for what they did.
I do see a handful, which to me seems like about a half a dozen of them. There may be a dozen that are on trial. I mean, I look like there's hundreds that are being indicted, but it looks to me like about half a dozen of them will get longer prison sentences of 5 to 10 years. Is what it looks like to me. So yeah.
Will the new normal corporate office what will it look like after COVID?
Well, in a good way, it's going to be much more efficient. So there's going to be much more remote work, much less traffic, on the highways. The environment's going to experience kind of a nice helpful upsurge, less emissions from, cars and things. And it's actually be a much more efficient working environment. So there's a great amount of inefficiency created when you're driving and commuting, having to go into the office. But if you can dial up remotely, easily from your home, efficiency is going to increase. So a better environment, more efficiency, even lower overhead costs because not as much office space is required.
Exactly. My sister worked for a law firm that they cut down on the staff and worked from home, and they got more stuff done than when they had a full off 2 stories of offices in San Francisco.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah,
because you can do everything court related over the internet.
you can.
Mhm. Did the Republicans tamper with the census to give themselves a favorable edge with electoral votes? Will the census be redone? Well, I'm glad you're asking this.
Yeah, what I get is that the census is going to be redone in part, but it looks like they'll identify, 4 or 5 states, like Florida, Arizona, Texas, a handful of states. They're going to redo the census in because it looks like the data, you can't corroborate it. So whatever numbers they got don't seem to track with post office records or something here. So it looks like they won't do the hit thing.
Tampered
Yeah.
with, right?
It was tampered with. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Will Giuliani give up the goods on 45 to keep himself out of prison?
In a heartbeat. So, what I see happening is that very soon here, in fact, it may be this week, it could be the week after, that Giuliani is going to really understand he's throwing down a barrel of a gun, so to speak, with a lot of prison time. And because of that, he's going to work a deal with the federal government to give up information. He doesn't want to go to prison. So that's what it's going to. He also, he's also going to realize that 45 is going to throw him under the bus. And I think we're going to see some of that this week. So.
Okay, yeah, because I saw him in a panic. I saw Giuliani in a panic.
Right.
So he's talking trash and acting like it's no biggie, but behind the scenes, something's going on.
That's the 45. That's the 45 playbook, which is, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? So the 45 playbook.
When will there be a cure or better treatment for hyperthyroidism?
Within about 5 years, could be 6 years, but it looks to me like there's some real advances around animal testing. So this is not testing that's harmful to animals per se, but there's testing that they're going to be able to do, and results of that testing on animal studies, they're going to help with overactive thyroid. They will.
Okay. Did Joy destroy census information?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we actually just kind of touched on some of that. And that's why I think there's probably, 5 or 6 states they're going to have a recount of the census. Yeah.
Yeah. Will Arizona Republican legislators be able to reduce school amendment funding that was previously voted on to be increased?
Yeah, and I think for me, this is all about that voucher program. Whoever asked the question, they didn't mention the word voucher in that question, but I think that's what they're referring to. So yeah, the GOP will not be able to reverse it. No.
Okay. Is there government agency or department tasked with investigating paranormal phenomena like the X-Files?
Well, that's an easy one. Absolutely. And it's been around since the 1940s.
Yep. Russian too.
Right.
Will there be repercussions on Tucker Carlson or Fox News for telling his audience to harass people wearing masks, even children, he said. Report them to the police, he said.
What I get on that, and that particular question regarding Tucker Carlson, is that's what I'm going to call some background noise, because it's not going to lead to his actual exit, but there is something coming up within about 6 months here for him, that's actually going to lead to his ouster from the network. So there's going to be a series of things going on. So the question that person asked, I don't think that's going to lead to repercussions or his ouster, but some major event that's going to be high in the media within about 6 months will. So he'll actually be departing the network.
Okay. Will homeopathic medicine ever be covered by mainstream health insurance?
That kind of speaks to the whole subject of East meets West medicine. So what I get on that is yes, but they're also going to couple that with other types of Eastern healing therapies like acupuncture. So it'll be like a little combination of how they put the treatment, if you will, the treatment plan together, and they'll cover it. They will. By the way, companies like UCLA and I think a lot of other healthcare providers are already doing a lot of East meets West care. So like you can get acupuncture through UCLA right now. So
Oh, wow, that's great.
yeah.
When we reincarnate, do we come back with those we've had difficult relationships with in order to work out difficulties? When
That's
we
that's
reincarnate.
purely, yeah, that's purely free choice. So that's a collective decision. So I think a lot of people, I want to state this pretty clearly on this channel, that some people have the understanding that when you go back, somebody puts a gun to your head and says, you're going to do X, Y, Z, and you're going back. You know what I mean? No, it's a lot of free will. You can say, I'm one and done. I'm not going back. Or, there's about 5 other things I'd like to learn and experience.
Right.
It's all about the growth of the soul. So you don't get forced to come back. Yeah.
And you're also not an ego anymore. You're coming in as someone who can look at the collective. So you'll know your other lives and what you learned. If there's someone in particular that you didn't get it right with, you may choose to have another event with them in another life. But it's a
You
whole
will.
different ballpark.
You will, and it's a mutual decision, so that other person will agree to it as well. And
Yeah.
so let's say there was mother and daughter or father and son. You say, I want to try it again, but now we're going to be brother and brother, or opposite of father, son, son, father. So you'll work it out.
Okay. Are there really energy advantages to using Feng Shui principles in our home and work?
Absolutely. I think, Feng Shui, I think they're asking about Feng Shui. Absolutely, that, there are energy lines and the way the energy flows through the universe and us and our homes. Absolutely, there's benefits to that. There really are. Yeah. I don't go to I will tell you this, that my guides are telling me, I don't take it to the extent that if you move a chair 3 feet to the left or the right, it's going to mean abundance and a lot of money, or if you move the chair 3 feet to the right, there's certain reasonableness to it. But the way sunlight comes to the home, the way people move through your home, all that's real.
Okay. When will the COVID situation in India finally level off? It's just horrible.
Yeah. It's really not going to get significantly better until like at the beginning, like the third quarter of this year. And then by the fourth quarter, it looks like it's much more stabilized. But unfortunately, what I get is they've got a few more variants that are going to come up. So they're attacking, this massive problem. I think on the news last night, they said 400,000 people, new cases yesterday in India, a new record, 400,000. So yeah, it's going to be like third quarter, and then fourth quarter starts to simmer down. Yeah.
I know one day I was watching where Trump was over there, right when COVID was starting. And I was looking at all the people that were, listening to Trump. And I remember thinking at that time, or my guides hit me with this, that it was like someone lighting a match and throwing it into this Kindle. I felt like India was going to get hit hard. But at that time, they'd had a few cases, but it didn't get hard. So I thought,
Right.
obviously, my hit was wrong, but it happened later on. Well,
Yeah,
I
and
love
by the way, the poor country, sorry, they weren't prepared at all.
Yeah.
Just, awful, awful. Yeah.
Will Caitlyn Jenner be successful in her run for governor of California?
I don't see it, but the reason it looks like it doesn't happen for her is because she doesn't get aligned with any major significant group. So she's unable to attract, any major significant segment, if you will, that backs her up. Like, it's healthcare workers or, doctors or something. There's some major group. I don't see the major group alignment, which is why it doesn't go well.
I didn't feel her winning. I feel, what's his name? The current governor making it through again. Can you sense what level someone is on the other side? So like when we see spirits, can you tell vibrationally? I can, but.
Yeah, you can, because there's a number of factors. One is there's lovingness and elevation of the energy they come through with, and the clarity. So somebody that's highly evolved, more evolved, easy to communicate with.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. GOP lawmakers in 34 states are trying to push for a new constitutional convention to add right-wing constitutional amendments to the current US Constitution under Article 5 of the US Constitution. They want 15 states to pass a resolution to call for the new constitutional convention. Will they succeed?
No. And so my understanding of that Article 5 is, yeah, I think it calls out in the Constitution a 2/3 vote or something. You can add an amendment to the Constitution, but I don't see it happening. It looks like it gets blocked at a couple of different places, not just in the vote of like, let's say go or no go, do it, but then it gets blocked as to what even the amendment is. So they can't even craft an amendment. So.
Well, you've got these people in the forefront, like this particular guy that was saying that Biden's thing was too big. We don't need broadband. We don't need that. And yet he's representing a state that absolutely is starving for this. I think it was Wyoming or something, but they could use these things that Biden is putting in. So what's going to happen is these forefront people that are acting like we're king for a day are going to be quite surprised when the voting happens and they get taken out. It might be another Republican that takes their place, but it's not going to be those ones who say, no, 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 no. Because they absolutely are not going to work for Biden, and they're furious Biden taking off. His numbers are way better than Trump. So what makes them think they have that much power? They don't. I think, this is my feeling, is that surprisingly, there's not as many people pro-Trumpsters as we'd like to believe. The news keeps throwing it at us, but at the end of the day, there's really not.
No, I would agree, and I would add that that base is eroding. So,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the fantasy that was created by the last administration around a lot of the lies, right? You know, the misinformation, it's coming to light. You know, so now it's getting, you know, the emperor has no clothes. It's getting kind of obvious that things aren't real.
Exactly. Why do some people die so young before achieving anything in life, before even becoming adults? What's the point?
So that speaks to everyone's life path, and everyone has a life path and a blueprint that they follow. And so it's interesting. The nuance of that question is like, why did that happen? They didn't accomplish what they were here. Oh no, they accomplished what they came down here to accomplish. And it's their effect on everybody else's life path that's important. So a lot of times when somebody, let's say, passed away at a young age, there's a ripple effect into the family and to doctors and all the other people that are still here, that many times is a learning lesson or a beneficial effect. So I like those kinds of questions because it starts out with the assumption, what happened, what went wrong? And I tell you, nothing went wrong. That's actually what's supposed to happen.
And that was the agreement, like you said earlier, about your agreements on the other side, it's free will.
Right. And I just got a cold chill when I just said that. So that was a universal truth that, you know.
In the future, will COVID pills be available in lieu of vaccines?
I do see a number of companies trying, but it looks to me like over the next decade, the fastest way to get into the body will still be injection. So I do see companies trying to come up with it, but there's like technology missing from the pills, if you will, so they get absorbed properly by the body. So I guess not for another 10 years, the answer.
Okay, can you please read on fire possibilities in Colorado this year?
Well, yes, I mean, much like California, Colorado is going to see again its share of fires, some pretty significant fires. But here's the good news. It looks to me through increased investment in aircraft and preparation that they're going to be able to get their hands on it, get a handle on it much faster than they have in the past. So they'll be there. But now, you know, it was hard to get money, let's say, for new aircraft, new water dropping and fire retardant aircraft. Now it looks like that funding is coming into place. Also with the Biden administration.
Thank you. Thank you. How can spirits of people we love who have passed on help us with our struggles in this life?
Well, was that related to family members, or I couldn't tell from that question? Did they say spirits in general? Oh, got it. So everybody that's in our extended spiritual family can certainly be supportive from the other side. That means helping you with sometimes a little bit of directional information, or helping you in your sleep and your dreams. They can talk to you. They can also tug on the robes, so to speak, of your angels and guides and say, hey, little help over here. They don't execute the help, but they can certainly drive the help to you. So yeah, there's absolutely, they can certainly help. Yeah.
Oh, it's all about free will again.
Right.
Kevin McCartney, what's he up to?
Well, they almost show me him running down like a football field, making some plays. But what he's trying to do is he's going to try to eventually make a run for president. So he's positioning himself. He's going to try to get on the ticket. But I feel what he's doing is they're kind of showing me he's kind of getting blocked and tackled a little bit by, let's say, friendly forces to 45. So there are some that are still trying to get 45 back on the ticket. So he's running down the field, but he's going to try to make a run for president.
Okay. Do you see anything coming up next week?
I do. I think there's going to be another very strong revelation around Matt Gaetz. So there's going to be another big revelation. It's almost like another chapter in the book, and you're going to see another level of difficulty for him. I also see, unfortunately, and I really dislike when I see this, but more mass shootings in the news this week and more police shootings this week. So they'll be in the media. It's just, wow, it's just a bad time for all that. I also see a bit of a health concern for somebody on the Supreme Court. I think we're going to see that this week. A bit of a health concern.
Maybe Roberts? I mean,
yeah, and you know what, for respect of the individual's family, I'd rather not say.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But there's something coming up here that concerns me this week around that. And I also see 45 coming out very publicly and trying to already distance himself from Giuliani. So it's almost,
that's when Giuliani turned him in. Okay.
Right. And that's why I think he, for some reason, 45 already knows through the underground information, if you will,
right,
that Giuliani's already discussing, terms of an agreement. And so it almost like 45 coming out and saying, Giuliani, who? He was never my attorney.
He only gave me coffee. He gave me coffee. Yeah, there was no contractual agreement between them, by the way.
Yep, I know.
I love it. He worked on his own. Exactly. Oh, yeah, he's going to turn him in. Mm-hmm. He's going to turn him in. But okay, so anything this week? Do you have any information your guides want to share?
I do, and this came up yesterday and this morning, which is a very interesting topic, sometimes sensitive, but I think it's very important. My guides were saying, please, from a standpoint of love, understand the difference between spirituality and religion. So religion very often tries to carve up certain things and, talks about things like, these are all the bad things that will happen if you don't follow these rules. And my guides are saying, please, everybody, take a deep breath, take a step back, understand spirituality is all about universal love, and it's about inclusion and forgiveness. So that was it. I thought that was interesting. They said, let's talk about just understand the difference between religion and spirituality. So.
Okay, good. And I wanted to bring up a real quick thing that's so funny on Twitter. Did you see, well, Trump made this remark about the Academy Awards being the worst Academy Awards ever. Their numbers are dropping. See how worthless they are. Blah. You know how he is, because he's always been mad at the Academy Awards for not claiming him to be king. The Academy Awards wrote back the funniest thing. They said, "Oh yes, coming from the president with the worst numbers ever, with the worst hairdo ever, with the worst tan ever, and maybe our numbers fell because you gave everybody COVID."
Yeah, well, it's deserving to kind of throw a few little mud pies back and forth. So
I know, I thought it was hysterical, but the thing is that people are furious at Trump, but we have to really disconnect from that in order to don't give him any more power by even hating him. Just stand back and watch what's going to happen, because the guys have been pretty good on your side and my side. They've been pretty direct about what's going to happen with him. But people didn't watch these movies, by the way. When nobody could went to the movies, and this Zoom thing, it's not for me. I find myself bored already. So next year I'll be watching them full force again.
Yeah, that's all. And by the way, all the award shows, I mean, I think the time is shifting for all the award shows because the joke is it's nothing like being in a room full of, millionaires rewarding, giving each other awards.
Pats on the back.
It's kind of funny. And yeah, it's humorous kind of in today's environment with all the humankind things we have to take care of in the world, world peace and hunger and helping a lot of people. So yeah, now some people call it diversion. That's really what it is. The award shows are a bit of a diversion. So
Well, it's sort of also something we've been doing since what, the 1920s or 30s?
mhm.
And it's sort of what do you call, like the United Kingdom has. They have their certain things they do, even with this rich family. But
Right.
it's, what is that word for? Tradition.
Mhm.
So the Academy Awards is sort of the American tradition. As me as a little girl loved it. I used to love the Academy Awards. And it's not
Yeah.
everybody's cup of tea, but it was for me. But there's some good movies. Minari, the one Minari, that's fantastic.
Right. And I'll offer up a point where I'm going to applaud the Academy and the other award organizations because they've really taken a much more concerted effort to broaden the base to make sure that every social element is now represented on the board and the voting. We're seeing a lot more diversity in the types of movies and directors and right, you look at the awards for female directors and I think it's getting much more diverse and that's a good thing.
Diverse, yeah.
Raises the vibration and the opportunity for a lot of children growing up right now to say, gee, I could be vice president, I could be a film director,
Exactly.
know who you are. So I think that's a good thing. So
And these people like Netflix, Amazon, all this also brought a whole new gig. It's not the studios owning everything now. You've got outside entities being able to do their own thing. I like that Chicago 7 movie too, by the way.
yeah, no, absolutely.
So, all right. So you guys take care. We'll see you next Sunday. I'll be
We
here
will.
for 3 more Sundays and then I've got Sedona. So
You're off the last weekend in May and then the first weekend in June. Right?
First weekend in June. So I know you guys are good. But I'll post his YouTube link. Go to his channel. You'll do something for everybody, even though we're not together, right?
I probably will on those Sundays. We'll figure out what we're going to do. But
People love their Sunday.
We'll do something. We'll
Okay.
do something. Even if it's like, magic tricks or a puppet show or something.
I'll tell you, I get all the time. So Linda, I'm looking so forward to you and Sterling Sunday. I'm telling you, you got to give them something, Sterling. Got to give them.
By the way, I always tell people it's funny how this all happened, but we were just going to do a show once in a while on like a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get a bandwidth. And I said, let's just do Sunday because we can get better bandwidth. How many people are Zooming. So it's funny how things start off.
That's so funny. But yeah. All right, my friend. Thank you so much.
All righty.
Bye, you guys. We'll see you.
All the best. Thanks.